Our client Tanya was falsely arrested for domestic violence. She was the victim. She had it on video. The police officer refused to take the video and keep it as evidence, completely disregarded it, arrested her, took her to jail. She hired us. We got the case dropped in 3 weeks. Hi, I'm Adam Rossen with the Rossen Law Firm, and today we're going to talk to you about another great win that we've had on a case, another example of where we've been able to help our clients have, their best futures. So today we're going to talk about our client named Tanya. This was a domestic violence case that happened in Miami, and Tanya and her boyfriend at the time, they just weren't getting along. There were some issues. They broke up, and there was a dog that, of course, they tried to keep and have shared custody of. And if you've ever had that issue happen, it never works. So they're fighting all day. They're texting all day. The boyfriend or ex-boyfriend has the dog, and he's supposed to give it back to Tanya. Then he stops responding. So Tanya goes over there to pick up the dog. She goes over there. They're outside the house, and there's just a lot of yelling, arguing, a whole commotion. He agrees to give back the dog. So ex-boyfriend comes out and literally throws the dog into Tanya's car. Tanya's 12-year-old daughter is in the back seat, traumatized. This is a little tiny dog, and he was very violent with this dog, and very violent and just yelling and kind of nasty to Tanya and her daughter. Tanya calls the police because she didn't like what was going on. The police arrive, and this ex-boyfriend and his family tell a completely different story. They say that Tanya got out of her car, went into their house, and started attacking them. 100% false, 100% lies. So this officer comes, and here he is being told of allegations of domestic violence. What does he do, right? So from our point of view, Tanya actually, what she did was she filmed this whole encounter. She had her cell phone up as she's arguing with the ex-boyfriend's mother, as she's arguing with the boyfriend. And she was calm. She spoke to this police officer and said, "Hey, I have a video of what really happened. Let me show it to you." She showed him the 4.5-minute video. He watched it there. She said, "Hey, let me send this to you. Let me email this to you. Take my phone." And he said, "No, I'm not going to do that. I don't believe you. I believe them. I'm going to arrest you for domestic violence." So Tanya was arrested for domestic violence in front of her own daughter after she had on video the boyfriend getting out of his house with a little puppy, yelling and screaming, throwing it at her, and terrifying them. This makes no logical sense. And this is a police officer who is trained, right? This police officer is trained in gathering evidence, collecting evidence, preserving it, maintaining it, making sure that it gets to the prosecutor's office. They're trained in investigations. They're trained in how to figure out the truth. Now, is this police officer a bad cop? Probably not. But he did a terrible job that day, made a terrible mistake. Now, here's the problem with the terrible mistake. It affected Tanya's life. Tanya was arrested. She has a mugshot online for everybody to see. She had to pay money to get out of jail, and she had to hire us, right? So because this police officer made one very terrible mistake, very poor investigation, it's affected Tanya tremendously. So what did we do, right? How did we help her? Luckily, Tanya hired us within, I think, 3 days of getting out of jail. She came to the office, we met with her, we watched the video, we read the police reports, we went over everything. We didn't want to involve her daughter unless we absolutely had to, and luckily on this case, we didn't. But when somebody's arrested for a crime, they're not charged just yet. The prosecutors are the ones that charge them. And there's usually a 3 to 4 week window, about 30 days or so, where the prosecutors review cases and they decide, do they file criminal charges? Do they increase criminal charges? Do they decrease criminal charges? Or do they drop the entire case? And usually prosecutors' default is file charges. And of course, that's where we come in. So we got the video, okay, and we immediately went to work and talked to the prosecutors, and we put pressure on them. And we let them know that if this case is to proceed forward, we're going to embarrass this police officer. We're going to go extremely aggressive with this police officer and his terrible investigation. And the community, the potential jurors, would not like that. And we convinced them that our client Tanya eventually was going to be fully exonerated. So by putting that pressure on them, by providing the evidence and doing the police officer's job for them, we were able to get this case dismissed in about 3 weeks. So Tanya was very happy. But this never should have happened. The question, right, that a lot of times we ask ourselves is, what if Tanya didn't have a video? What if she wasn't there with the foresight to hold her, camera and her phone up and say, listen, so I think something bad's gonna happen, so I need to get this on video. If we didn't have that, where would we be, right? We'd be defending her, but there would be a criminal case. We wouldn't have evidence. So it would be a he said, she said. It would be the ex-boyfriend and his mother and their family, right? 2, 3, 4 witnesses making up lies about Tanya. And that's pretty scary. So luckily for Tanya, she had the evidence. She had us. We made this go away very quickly. But I also want to let you folks know, even if there wasn't the camera, right, we don't give up. We fight, and we have to dig deep and fight, and that just means our job is harder, but that's okay. We actually love what we do, and we love to fight for people. But again, luckily for Tanya, she had this. So we helped her achieve her best future. We help good people when bad things happen. It was a terrible situation. I'm just glad that we fixed it, we made it right, and Tanya's doing very well now. Her daughter's doing very well. The puppy is doing very well, and she does not have that ex-boyfriend or his family in their life anymore. If you ever have any questions, give us a call, 754-206-6200.